That was way too easy, but I think we're live. But welcome back to the Breaker Bros. And tonight we're just going to kind of do a review, or I guess more or less a reaction to the Bengals versus Packers preseason game. I guess what we initially talked about right before we started the stream was that it's kind of hard to judge because it seemed like a lot of the Packer starters were
Packers starters versus Bengals backups. I
yeah.
mean, I watched the 7-minute highlight on YouTube, so that's my analysis. It's like, well, we lost, but only because we were playing backups. The one thing I was going to ask you about is like in the highlights, which was like 10 plays, like Miles Murphy looked like he was playing, but he didn't really do much. I don't know if that was just the highlight package, or I mean, did you notice him play at all in the game?
Yeah, I guess anything with since we're talking about that, it felt like what I noticed was that it didn't seem like he was causing that much pressure. I feel like there was a few plays where I noticed like he was kind of getting there, but not as much as what I would thought or think he would do. But I don't know if that was like a scheme thing, because to me, like, I guess the silver lining, because overall it looked like we didn't really play up to Green Bay's overall level, because obviously we lost, but I still think there were some highlights because like the safeties looked pretty good. I thought I think the safety that we signed in the offseason, I can't remember his first name, but that Scott, he sat out, which I thought was interesting because it seemed like most of the Nick Scott, most of the starters, or what we would consider starters for the Bengals, like they didn't even dress. Except for Dax Hill, which I thought was kind of interesting, but I guess they want to get him work because he didn't really have a starting role last year. And then they played our other safety that we got in the third round, Battle. And I thought he showed up pretty well. Like, I thought the safeties looked pretty good for, like that being one of our biggest concerns, like how well our safeties were going to perform, or if there was going to be like any slack. But it was kind of like what I expected, because Jesse Bates had a really good play early on in the game. Or not Jesse Bates, Dax Hill had a really good play. No, my savage. I'm not sure if that was in the highlight film, but he covered it felt like he covered like 40 yards. I mean, he went from like midfield to like the sideline, and he knocked down that ball, which I thought showed great range.
Yeah.
And then Battle, like he I feel like he had several big hits, and like he seems like he might actually have a slight edge over Von Bell, in the sense that like he's a solid tackler, but I feel like we're gonna get a lot of benefits.
He has the huge edge over Von Bell because he's on the team, so can't root for Von Bell anymore.
Well, I mean, in terms of overall like performance, because I feel like Von Bell or Battle, he's actually pretty decent in coverage. Like, I can actually see him coming up with like overall more picks, or like pass deflections. Like, I think he's gonna be a little bit more solid in coverage, but he's also really good, solid tackler. I mean, I don't think he's gonna have the big hits that we saw with Von Bell, but I mean, he can, lay the wood. I mean, he had some really nice hits in the game. So I felt like from that perspective, it seemed like some of the question marks shine. I think the backup offensive linemen seem to be kind of, I guess, up in the air, and that might be something that we may be concerned about, or that could be the ultimate reason why we keep Collins, because I mean, we don't.
Yeah, I saw Jackson Carman was playing right tackle, which was interesting.
Yeah, but after it seemed like he did so bad that the practice afterwards that they tried to put him back at left tackle. So like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird.
You think he's doing that on purpose?
Him? No, I don't think he's in a position where he can be doing stuff like that on purpose, because like he's not like. I feel like if he wasn't a second round pick, he probably would have been cut already, right? Like, if we weren't paying him so much, he's a high pick, he might have been cut already, right?
Yeah,
It just
I
seems
think
like
so.
And
Well, it's hard to say though. It's hard to say, right? Because I mean, he did play last year, so
he played when I saw him play in the situation that he came in, he performed well because like coming off the bench to left tackle, which
yeah.
seems to
So I
be
wouldn't
going to
say
be.
he would have gotten cut. I think you know he definitely didn't play. I mean, when the way that draft board fell that year, um, I know that they passed on a number of guards, to take Jackson Carman, right? Remember how they traded down a few spots because
Yeah.
they were in position to take the first guard, and instead they kept moving back and they picked Jackson Carman. It was like I don't know the third or fourth guard taken.
I mean, I guess there's still time for him to kind of turn it around and prove that he could be like a reliable backup. Because I mean, if you look at the way he performed in the playoffs versus like how he was in the preseason, it seemed kind of lackluster. Like there was that play where he was just so slow to react. Like basically, he didn't even react. Like
Well, it's because he was playing like he was a backup. If it was a regular season, he'd be playing like he was a starter, and then he would have been fine.
I felt like it was one of the situations where he broke out of the huddle and he asked the guy next to him like, "Hey, what's the play count?" And like the guy told him the wrong thing because if you look at it, both him and the guard didn't even move right when everyone
Oh
else
yeah.
did. But the guard actually reacted forward and tried to do something to the guy with the front of him, to whereas Carmen just didn't do anything. I was like, that's kind of mind boggling because it's like, even if it's a broken play, right? You would think you would just react to someone just rushing across the line. Like you think you would just try to tap him a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Or
seemed
like, yeah, he jumped off side, so let me touch him. So they had to throw a flag, right? If you
well. The
forget
thing
to.
is like I was trying to think like, okay, because he should see two people, one to his right, one to his left, like literally trying to get past. So like at that point, you should be reactive, right? Like even if you like had the wrong count at that point, if two people are rushing, you would have to assume that something's going on as
Well,
far
but
as
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like if you think that the snap counts like 3 or whatever, and the defense jumps early, shouldn't you like move and react so they throw a penalty flag?
right. Yeah, it was just, but there was no reaction. It was just so. That's what I'm saying. It's like lackluster. It's like like some people play and like they're like fighting for a spot and like they're trying to do everything they can to show like they have it, but it just seemed weird, like.
Mhm.
But I guess there's still a few more preseason games to maybe
Yeah.
show where he can be a little bit more consistent. But I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird.
Hmm.
And then I thought another thing that people, or at least I didn't notice anyone really talking about, but I thought the special teams did pretty good. Like, obviously McPherson made all those field goals, but in terms of like the snapping and the punting and the holding and all that, everything it looked good. And
I did notice that like you could really hear that ball
when you punt it,
thud
yeah.
when McPherson was kicking field goals.
Uh,
I didn't see any of the punts, but I mean, like I mean, I think McPherson kicked like a 50-yard field goal,
yeah. He did a
and it like
51
went
yard,
like, and it went through the like
hit the net.
halfway up the uprights and hit the nut. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like when he kicked it, for sure, it looked like a 51-yard field goal. But if you showed like the end of the field goal, like where it went through and how it went through,
Yeah.
you would have never thought that was a 51-yarder.
Yeah. No,
Looked like a 35-yarder.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's at that point where, I mean, they've always been pretty confident in his ability to hit the 50-yarders. I think the
Yeah,
only,
well, I mean, last year was just the holder issue, right? Like
yeah.
the
Well,
holder go down was terrible. Who's holding? Is the new punter holding?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one really talked about that. But I guess that's the beauty of it because you want no one to talk about it because the only time they're talking about it is if there's issues, right? So, like,
Mm.
it's the simple things that they're doing right.
Yeah. Sorry, I added some new sounds.
And I could hear it.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yosivash, the receiver from Princeton. The thing that, like, I always thought he had the potential that he's shown. Like, that to me is not really a surprise. What kind of surprised me is like how big he looked. Like when I was watching it on like just on TV, he kind of reminds me of like a TJ Hushmazada, but with
TJ, who's your mama?
But he's got Marvin Jones speed. I think that's like the best way to explain him. Like he's just like, he's got the size of.
I thought he was like really fast. Like if you look at it, I remember.
Well,
from
Marvin Jones was really fast too.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't think Marvin Jones was that fast.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're about the same speed. They're like 4.4 something.
Okay. Marvin Jones Jr. 40-yard time. I'm not looking this up to be critical. I'm curious. Oh, there's a YouTube video of it. Let's see what they say.
I feel like they were only off by like, I want to say 0.2 of a second.
Well,
or maybe
0.2 of a second.
No, 200.
Huge, right?
No, I'm sorry, 200ths of a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's much closer.
Yeah, one more decimal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's an order of magnitude. I'm doing very poor at this. Marvin Jones Jr. 40-yard dash. Oh wait, 40-yard time combine. That's probably what I want. 4.4. And then how do you spell Yosivash?
That's it. It's just 4.4. It's not like 4.46. I feel like it was something like that.
It was a
4.4 flat.
4.4 flat.
Okay.
According to, I did not spell Yosivash right. How do you spell it?
It's like,
it's got like a T in it, right?
T? No, I don't think. It's like IOSLOVAS or something like that.
No, I'm getting. It's a brand of farm combine. Let's see, Bengals. Box score. Boop. And then players. Game. This one. Player stats. That's what I've been looking for. Know why Google is so fighting me so much on this. Okay, yeah. IOSIBAS.
I feel like I was pretty close, actually.
You're way better than me. I had a Y in it. I'm starting to feel like, oh, yeah, wow, 4.43.
Yeah, so my memory serves me correct because I looked that up a while
Yeah,
ago. So
yeah, hey. I remember, like, from the draft though, he was like big and fast. But
Yosivash?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like you watch his highlights at Princeton, and it looks exactly
like in my
what you
head.
would
I thought
think
he
it
was
would
going to
look
have
like.
like the build of Marvin Jones, where you're kind of like tall and lanky. I knew he was like a little bit taller. Actually, I think he's an inch taller than Marvin Jones. I'm gonna say Marvin Jones is like 6'2".
Okay.
Or they might have him listed at the same height, but when you look at him, he's just like, he's big. He like he's obviously taller than TJ Hushmanzada, but TJ Hushmanzada was like thick, like he just seemed like, or like I don't want to say he's like big as Terrell Owens, but like he's got size to him. I was like, holy crap, he actually like, I mean, if anything,
he's 6'3" and an eighth.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically like T. Higgins. Like he's got like his size. Like that's where I was like kind of like, holy crap, maybe this is he's gonna be a little bit more dominant than, because I mean the fact that he came in and he's doing what he's doing right now is like, a 6th-round pick is like pretty impressive. Like, he just seems like he has that confidence about him. Like, basically, he's just playing football. He's like, to where it's like, you get someone that has like the abilities similar to Jerome Simpson, like where like he's got all the talent in the world, he just doesn't have it like mentally. Like, I don't know, because I always thought Jerome Simpson was always going to do better than what he actually did. But I don't know. It just seems like he's got the right mentality, because like the things that he was saying was like interviews as far as like he thinks other players are like afraid of him, which
I'm sure they are.
well, I mean, it's pretty bold but if you have that mentality as a rookie, I mean, to me, it's just like I think he carries that chip. Because
I don't know. I thought he was smart. I thought he went to Princeton.
Well,
That's
I'm
kind of
sure
dumb.
something dumb to say. No, well, I think
I'm
it's
just
just confidence.
I'm just saying. Okay, so say you're like a defensive back and you're playing the Bengals.
Uh-huh.
You're in the meeting room. You're like, oh yeah, we really gotta watch out for.
No.
Who?
He said that in response to like, because they were practicing against the Packers, and he was just saying like he felt like the opposing. I think he was just saying like he felt like they were afraid of him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the Packers backups were afraid of him.
Well, I mean, like, I think he's just got that mentality that he's just gonna win, and I feel like that's gonna fit perfect with like Joe Burrow and the offense, and it feels like
no,
okay.
I mean, I was, you know, bullish on him as a prospect for the 6th-round pick, and to contrast it with the whole Jerome Simpson thing, it just shows that the organization has learned how to draft players, right? Because Jerome Simpson was like a freak athlete with like red flags who didn't really produce in college, right? And the Bengals took him in the 2nd round, which is insane, right? And then you got Joseph, who's like, exceptional athlete, has size, speed, looks like he can play, but like I wouldn't say he has red flags like Jerome Simpson. But the question is, or similar to Jerome Simpson, who went to like Coastal Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Is that like you look at his highlights and he looks like a 6'3" guy with 4.4 speed playing against a bunch of Ivy League players. You know what I mean? You see like a big tall guy just run past everybody. And you're just like, okay. I don't know if that means he's going to be an NFL player, but I mean, definitely looks like what an NFL player should look playing against Ivy League competition. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good, and the team is set up that guys like that can grow because they're fighting for playing time. So I just feel like if you're a young player and you feel like you're not getting as much playing time as you deserve, and you work through that, I feel like that's what makes you better, right? As opposed to like you should up as a second necessarily earned it, and just like, yeah, you're starting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas he's gonna have to earn.
Are you still there?
Uh-oh. Our
And all of the digicals don't seem to be digicaling anymore.
Who was that?
Derek Bieri.
Is that a comedian or something?
He's Vice Grip Garage, the guy on YouTube.
He sounded drunk, but I guess he was just or it sounded like a bit or something, but it was funny. It's a good soundbite. I like it.
Yeah.
Bringing out all the stops.
I know, man. I added some stuff.
But yeah, I guess.
Oh wait, here you go. So competition's gonna bring out the best because we all know
cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Right?
Yeah.
See, it's not as good as if I try to do it on purpose. I have to you have to say something, and that has to make me think to hit the button.
How many sound bites do you have now?
A few. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 19 plus another 8, 27. So 27 specific ones, and then like the 6 Discord ones, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
That was the Discord one, right?
Yeah, it's Discord.
Yeah, I think for the Bengals, well, I guess I heard with this next preseason game, I think more of the defensive starters are going to play. But I get a sense that, like, in terms of the offense, I don't suspect. I don't know. It seems like head coach wise, they don't like to play the key offensive starters, but it seems like Joe Burrow wise, I think he would want to get like a series. But I think everyone's speculating that we won't see Joe Burrow in the preseason, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did one series just to have something with the offensive unit, because I think that's like, because he said something about it and he's just like, he thinks it's like important or something that he would like to do. But I think from the head coach's perspective, Zach Taylor, like, I don't think he doesn't necessarily see it as important. But it's interesting to see that a lot of the defensive players are going to start this next game.
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, if he's not hurt, then I'm all for it. But I mean, to me, it's just like, just let him rest. I don't think it's worth risking. You know, because if I was preparing for a game with Joe Burrow starting in the preseason, I would tell the offensive lineman, like, don't get beat. If you get beat, hold, face mask, horse collar, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, then if you're going to do that, then why bother? You know what I mean?
Because then it's going to get real dirty throughout the match. Because then they're going to do it on the other side. So
yeah, it's just like, you know what? If he's ready and it works,
I mean, if anything,
then do it. But I wouldn't force it.
I think if anything, all the offensive line starters should play a few series, because that's something they didn't really do last year either. I don't think any of like really the key offensive players played, not all together, but I think for their offensive starters, I think they should have a few series together. That way, if there is something that's glaring, they can kind of fix it before we get into the season, because that's to me, it's like if they would have played a little bit more in the preseason, they would have noticed a few things going in to last year. But I think part of the slow start.
Yeah, but that was like the weirdest. That was the weirdest game. That first game, it was so weird.
It was weird.
Burrow had like 5 picks, and they still almost won.
Yeah.
And the only reason they lost is because the long snapper like tore his bicep.
Yeah, it was so weird.
I mean, it's just like.
And then did we miss an extra point and a field goal? Like,
yeah, because of the long snapper.
Yeah.
What, like they didn't have the right and it's just like, well, those guys practice, those guys played in the preseason, and then that guy gets hurt, and it's just like bad luck, because it's like, I mean, it's nowhere near as important as a quarterback, but it counts for points, and there's no replacement for a long snapper.
And the biggest difference is that Joe Burrow's, like, the injury that he had last year was pretty significant in terms of like him starting the season really slow, because he was lost a lot of weight, so he was trying to recover, and like you could just tell it took a few weeks. Like, calf strain could be like a nagging injury, but he seems really way more sharp. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes, because I want it to be true, not because I know anything about it. But
right. Well, I mean, the big difference though, what I noticed from this year and last year, because like there was
Orlando Brown, that's a big difference.
That is a big difference, but there were signs last year that what he was doing the first couple of days, like throwing a lot of those interceptions, he was doing that in practice when he came back from his thing. Like they were noticing, like, and like I guess he himself was probably downplaying like how hurt he actually was, because he's just like that type of person. But like I feel like what he has right now is not really comparable to last year. So like. But also, like I was saying, he just seems more sharp, because like going into camp, like there was just highlight after highlight of him just like being so on point. And I think that's probably why he had his injury. Like he just had not stopped since the end of last year. Like you can just tell. Like when he came in to like the off-season program, I don't know if it's like mini camp or whatever they call it, or I forget what they call it. It's like non-organized, but it's like when they first meet over, like, because they get like a month off, like where they don't like
OTA?
It might be OTA, yeah. But he came in and he
49ers
looked
team
jacked, and
activity.
everyone was like, he like looked noticeably like toned, and like you could tell like.
Mhm.
But that's just him. Like he even admits that he's like a workaholic or like a gym rat. Like,
No, that's fine. He just needs the.
well,
I
but
mean,
it is, but it isn't
needs to
because
get one of
like
those foam rollers and really roll out that cap.
he's one of those few people where it's like he's probably doing too much. You know, like you kind of want to take a step back and just let your body recover a little bit, because that's the type of injury that he had, is just like where you just keep going and going and going. Like when your muscle gives out like that, like
Mhm.
it's just because he's overdoing it. That's the only reason